So for me, it's a very a wonderful image. I sing with a choir. I do some cantering with my church. This process that we're looking at here and observing in development is really very much like music. It has a rhythm to it. It's a combination here of art and science because we're seeing every 20 minutes one of these vertebrae, one of these balls are formed. And it's a repetitive process, so that rhythm, that song, if you will, repeats itself.
I think that the nervous system has always really excited me. I mean, it's kind of what makes us who we are. To me, this picture is almost like an aerial view at night, and it really shows how these cells like to group together into islands or cities. And I actually think that it's probably the art of science that maybe influences the future generation of scientists.
The brain in Alzheimer's disease, it's failing, but brains have an ability to renew themselves. And if we could encourage that, if we could trick a brain into renewing itself, we hope that that would help to preserve the mind, to preserve the person. There's no doubt that there's a lot of intersection between science and art. So we knew that when we saw the green in this picture, that those were stem cell neurons, that those were baby neurons, but it all comes down to design, and it all comes down to trying to end up someplace at the end of the day that you weren't before.
The reason I gave this picture the name To the Tango is because, tango is a very sensual, very powerful, very combative dance. This tiny, small pink gland is going to overtake the benign population, multiply and win this battle. But our research and our hard work among all our scientific community is to win this battle and to reverse this process. And we will win this battle in the future.
The first time I saw the picture, I thought it was very beautiful just in terms of the way that nature made it, if you will. And so it's a protein, and this protein ultimately self-assembles into a virus-like particle towards immunization against human papillomavirus, or HPV. It's really critical that we have the next generation of students engaged and interested in science to move these next generation discoveries through, really help us tackle tomorrow's problem.
So what's really neat about this picture is the fact that it's a fruit fly mussel. So you could take muscle out of a human, stain it with the same probes, and it would look the same. So fruit flies and humans, even though they look very different to us, and of course, fruit flies can fly and we only can walk, the basic core of the muscle structure and function is very similar. So the thing that's neat about science and art is you can take something that you find in the laboratory. So for example, our lab does a lot of microscopy, so we generate a lot of beautiful pictures. You can take those pictures and show that to somebody, and it may look artistic to somebody, but you can also explain what that is scientifically. And so it's just an avenue to have people more aware of science.
So that's an MRI image of the fiber tracts in a brain. So whenever we get images like this, you know that at some point they're going in for surgery, that a diagnosis has been made. So the colors that you see on the picture are the road maps in and out of the brain, pathways that are used to perform everyday functions. In what I do, and at Children's Mercy, it's a brand new thing, the 3D lab. SEAM Education prepares people for careers that don't even have a name yet.
So when you play it, it's like a movie, and then when you watch the movie, you see how mitochondria really dancing. But the movement is so well controlled and balanced, then that's the beauty of the life. If you don't have this harmony, don't have this balance, of course you'll be sick. Why you were sick? Because the cell was sick first.
But one of the motivation of picking these phospholipids and trying to learn more about it is that it's very abundant in nerve cells. And so our lab is interested in learning more about neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's diseases, and we're trying to ultimately expand our knowledge about nerve cell membrane. It's telling a story, I think. Even with just one picture, you can expect a story.
It's the beginning, I guess, of a passion and a scientific endeavor. My specific focus is in regenerating the sensory epithelium in the ear, specifically the cochlea, that's responsible for allowing individuals to hear. I have this personal interest in music. It's something I can't imagine what my life would be like without it. If I could help give that to someone else or restore that, then maybe that will translate to something wonderful they can do for others.
The image I submitted represents carbon nanotube forest. I go to work and I discover what I think is really fascinating imagery. And so over the years I've collected probably half a dozen, and they're all black and white. They're all scanning electron microscope images. But I print them out, I hang them on my walls, and I think they're beautiful. My work is kind of my art. That's my artistic expression, because I can't draw a straight line, right? I don't have the traditional artistic tendencies, but I definitely try to find the art in my work.
We're really pleased to have our Science to Art program again at this year's annual dinner. This gives us an opportunity to highlight the significant science which is occurring in this area in a visual art form. I'm especially appreciative of the work of Sarah Hearn, who helped us in the curation of these images, and I also want to thank Buttonwood Art Space that allowed us to use their location for the video shoot. We recognize that innovation comes from many areas in the STEM disciplines, science, technology, engineering, and math, but we also appreciate that oftentimes the greatest innovation comes from an integration of different disciplines, and also the integration of art and design into the STEM disciplines. This year, the proceeds from our art auction to support STEAM programs are going to support BioGenius, Prep KC, and Science Pioneers. And on the art side, we're going to be supporting Artist Inc., which is a professional development training program to help artists develop their entrepreneurial skills and also strengthen their artistic practice. Your bid tonight supports STEAM education programs, so bid now and bid often.